zip, zero, nada. And he just waltzed right into the Oval Office. And now the AP wants to ask, who is Barack Obama? And they're asking now only because even though they've built him up and have established this persona that they hoped that he would be, that they wanted him to be, that they'd wish for him to be, they now realize he's not. So now they have to ask, well, geez, if he's not who we said he was the past 4 years, well, then who the hell is he? Maybe you should have asked that question 4 years ago before he got elected.
My name is Ronald Reagan. I have been asked to talk on several subjects that have to do with the problems of the day. Now, back in 1927, an American socialist, Norman Thomas, 6 times candidate for president on the Socialist Party ticket, said the American people would never vote for socialism. But he said under the name of liberalism, the American people will adopt every fragment of the socialist program. There are many ways in which our government has invaded the precincts of private citizens, the method of earning a living. One of the traditional methods of imposing statism or socialism on a people has been by way of medicine. It's very easy to disguise a medical program as a humanitarian project. Most people are a little reluctant to oppose anything that suggests medical care for people who possibly can't afford it. James Madison, in 1788, speaking to the Virginia Convention, said, "Since the general civilization of mankind, I believe there are more instances of the abridgment of the freedom of the people by gradual and silent encroachment of those in power than by violent and sudden usurpations." Now, in our country, under our free enterprise system, we have seen medicine reach the greatest heights that it has in any country in the world. Today, the relationship between patient and doctor in this country is something to be envied any place. The privacy, the care that is given to a person, the right to choose a doctor, the right to go from one doctor to the other. But let's also look from the other side at the freedom the doctor loses. A doctor would be reluctant to say this. Well, like you, I'm only a patient, so I can say it in his behalf. The doctor begins to lose freedoms. It's like telling a lie, and one leads to another. First, you decide that the doctor can have so many patients. They're equally divided among the various doctors by the government. But then the doctors aren't equally divided geographically. So a doctor decides he wants to practice in one town, and the government has to say to him, you can't live in that town. They already have enough doctors. You have to go someplace else. And from here, it's only a short step to dictating where he will go. This is a freedom that I wonder whether any of us have the right to take from any human being. Take it into your own occupation or that of your husband. All of us can see what happens once you establish the precedent that the government can determine a man's working place and his working methods, determine his employment. From here, it's a short step to all the rest of socialism, to determining his pay. And pretty soon, your son won't decide when he's in school where he will go or what he will do for a living. He will wait for the government to tell him where he will go to work and what he will do. In this country of ours took place the greatest revolution that has ever taken place in the world's history, the only true revolution. Every other revolution simply exchanged one set of rulers for another. But here, for the first time in all the thousands of years of man's relation to man, a little group of men, the Founding Fathers, for the first time, established the idea that you and I had within ourselves the God-given right and ability to determine our own destiny. This freedom was built into our government with safeguards. We talk democracy today, and strangely we let democracy begin to assume the aspect of majority rule is all that is needed. Well, majority rule is a fine aspect of democracy, provided there are guarantees written in to our government concerning the rights of the individual and of the minorities. What can we do about this? Well, you and I can do a great deal. We can write to our congressmen, to our senators. We can say right now that we want no further encroachment on these individual liberties and freedoms. And at the moment, the key issue is we do not want socialized medicine. If you don't, this program, I promise you, will pass just as surely as the sun will come up tomorrow. and behind it will come other federal programs that will invade every area of freedom as we have known it in this country, until one day, as Norman Thomas said, we will awake to find that we have socialism. And if you don't do this, and if I don't do it, one of these days, you and I are going to spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
You got Obama phone?
Yes, everybody in Cleveland, low minority, got Obama phone. Keep Obama in president, you know. He gave us a phone. Whoa, get Obama phone. Obama phone. Got Obama phone. You got low income, gave us a phone. Got Obama phone. Obama phone. Got Obama phone. You got low income, gave us a phone.
I hope they roast this on YouTube, 'cause I wanna be the bitch to whoop your ass. Mitt Romney, whoop your ass. You ain't shit. Every time I see you on a motherfucking commercial, I wanna go to TV set, it ain't even mine. Nigga.
Got Obama phone. Obama phone. Got Obama phone. You got low income, gave us a phone. Got Obama phone. Obama phone. Got Obama phone. You got low income, okay?
What the fuck, bro?
Got Obama phone. Obama phone. Got Obama phone. You got low income, gave us a phone. Got Obama phone. Obama phone. Got Obama phone.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show.
How you feeling? How you feeling out there, America? Yes, it is I, your lovable host, coming back to you. You should be
I feel smarter already.
expanding your craniums by listening to this show. I'm sure you are. Because we talk about the truth and logic, and it just, one gets smarter by doing that. Obama. Who's Obama? Well, I mean, everybody's, well, not everybody, but the lamestream media is now asking the question, well, who is he? We don't know who he really is. We never really know who he really is. We didn't know who he was, but we just like this the fairy tale, as Bill Clinton put it. It's a beautiful tale. You know, a half black man, half African man, born in Hawaii, raised in Indonesia. He understands the world. He had a struggle to figure out who he was, because he didn't know who he was, but now he does. And now, you know, here's this good-looking, tall, slender, half African man that came onto the scene, burst onto the scene, had a great speech. Yeah, it was written for him. Gave a great speech and was put on the track. Yes, this is the first clean and articulate and intelligent African American, even though he's not really African American. And he can speak English without an urban dialect or accent. But he can get into it if he wants to. He can be whoever you want. That's who Obama is. No, I'll tell you who Barack Hussein Obama is. He's a not confused, not so highly intelligent, hater of the American system, socialist bordering on communist. That's who Barack Hussein Obama really is. Are you going to say he's a socialist? Yes, I'm going to say he's a socialist. He's not really. Yes, He's taken over industry. And when it was suggested to the, remember, no, of course you don't remember this, but I'm going to remind you. Back in the day, when Obama was putting forth the idea and moving to take over the auto industry via General Motors and Chrysler, one of the things that was said was, well, you know what? You know, if the American people are going to profit from this, why don't taxpayers get the stock? No. We can't do that. We can't give up the stock. Government's got to own the stock. Well, because why? Because you'd have to give the stock to the taxpayers, because the taxpayers are the ones that had to foot the bill for taking over General Motors and Chrysler. But no, all those, that 47% that Mitt Romney talked about, that doesn't pay income taxes, well, they wouldn't get anything. That's just not fair. That's not fair. Obama hates capitalism. He hates the United States as it was founded. And you can't tell me that he loves America. He doesn't. And I don't think his wife does either. For the first time, I'm actually proud of my country. Really, your country has never done anything that, since you've been alive, that's made you proud of it. You're old enough for when we went to the moon. That wasn't an historic achievement. So now they're asking, who is this Obama person? Well, we told you who he was. Those of us on the right, we told you who he was. Nobody wanted to listen. So now, on the last night of April in 2011, Obama put on his black tie for the annual White House Correspondents Association dinner, so writes the article in AP, at the Washington Hilton. Obama was in good form that night. He congratulated Donald Trump, then considering a run for the Republican nomination, on his recent decision to fire actor Gary Busey on Celebrity Apprentice. Now, these are the kinds of decisions that would keep me up at night, Obama said, to peals of laughter. Well handled, sir. Well handled. Well, considering that the Donald knows what he's doing as far as business is concerned, how would you even know? You wouldn't be able to come to that decision. However, what his audience didn't realize, what few people knew at that moment, was that Obama had just hours before given the go-ahead for the mission that would claim the life of America's public enemy number one, excuse me, Osama bin Laden. It was a huge gamble, perhaps the biggest of Obama's presidency. And from what we hear from people on the inside, Obama had to be pressed to make a decision. He wasn't forthcoming. I mean, he almost pulled a Bill Clinton. But he almost pulled, because Bill Clinton said, hey, we have this guy, Osama bin Laden. He's responsible for the first Twin Towers bombing. Remember that back in 92, 93? We have this guy who you say is responsible in our country. Do you want him? Oh, no. He's no big deal. We'll get him later. Don't worry about it. At least Bill made the decision. From what I understand, Obama didn't make the decision, and he was pressed to do so. In fact, we always hear that, Dick Cheney actually ran the W. Bush White House. Well, in this particular case, from what I understand, and from other people, from people inside, it was Biden who made the decision. You don't hear that, though. Good old smiley devil Biden himself. The grin. He gave the order, so I hear.